Hi everyone, welcome to the Finance Story, a career insights platform that enables finance professionals make better career decisions. So today, India is one of the fastest and largest growing economies, yet many CA firms are trying to find their place, of course, globally, but also in India. On speaking to several partners at CA firms, their growth journey has not been very easy. They invest immense effort, but the revenue growth remains limited. What is it that they have to do to grow? How can audit and accounting firms attain substantial expansion locally and globally? So, to help us address all of our questions and share practical insights for small, mid sized firms, we have with us the amazing Shailesh Haribhakti sir. Okay, so to give you a little bit of an introduction, in 1978, at the young age of 22, Shailesh Haribhakti joined his dad's CA firm, Haribhakti and Company. And over the years, Shailesh sir has made several bold moves. With his exceptional foresight, super team, and innovative thinking, the firm grew from 20 to 150 and eventually to 1,000 team member. So let's have Sir on board. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all the people who are listening in. And let's have a good interaction.
So, sir, let me start with my first question. Okay, sir, when you started out, what was your goal? When you started out your firm, I understand the size of the firm. It was your dad's firm. Your dad had started it in 1950 or 58. Okay, from what I understand, and it was a size of 20, which you grew it to like together to 150 and eventually 1,000. Okay, so what was your goal when starting out? Okay, that's one. And did you have a long-term plan in mind? I will grow it to a large firm, and what decisions led to those massive growth? So these are the 3 pointers. Okay.
Okay. Well, you never plan to become large. What I was planning was to become the best in a few things that we thought we could do well. And I hung my hat, and I think thankfully, on a non-traditional activity at that time, which was what was called systems audit. So we pioneered that because I had a certified internal auditor qualification. I was the first certified internal auditor who had passed the exam in 1979. And so in 80, after I came back from the US, I thought we should launch a absolutely brand new product. And for the first 25 years of my professional career, I was obsessed by starting something new, which was 2, 3, 5 years ahead of the curve. And that's exactly what we kept doing. So we innovated on systems audit, then we did fault intolerant audit, then we did self-corrective processes, then we launched a wave of forensic work. I got qualified as a certified fraud examiner. We did a whole lot of innovation in the area of consulting, forensics, and strategic planning. And then we also pioneered IP valuations. That became a rage for a few years. And all kinds of valuations as India went on to an M&A spree and international investment started coming in. All of that started happening. And so the thought in my mind at that time was, let's keep being ahead of the curve. And I think that is what stayed with me, which helped me to grow the firm from virtually very, very small, humble beginnings, very solid practice, well run, always profitable, but very small. And so we then started growing exponentially, and that is driven by new product innovation. That, in a word, is what we did.
So from what I understand, you basically focused on staying ahead of the curve. That's all. It's as simple as that. So at every stage, you grew slowly but surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well paraphrased.
Okay. So, okay. And what were the challenges that you faced, which you feel, oh my God, it was such a big challenge, but which was a threat, but, you overcame it somehow. So any major challenges, which you face and which others starting their own practice, will bound to go through that.
So the biggest challenge was resources. I was always looking for people. And at some point, I told my partners that, look, you guys are so important for us in the firm that you decide what is it that you are going to take home every year. And whatever gets left behind, if anything, I will keep. So I was so enthusiastic about getting the right people around me who were better than me. And that was a very big challenge. We had to struggle very hard. I must have recruited in my entire active years in the professional practice of accounting, maybe 5,000 people. And that, I think, really gave me a whole lot of understanding of human character, how to deal with competence, how do you track what will make a person successful. Today, in all my boards, I keep telling everybody around that let's set up whoever we work with for success. That has to be the obsession everywhere. Wherever we are, we should set people up for success. And so the other challenge was to create that environment in which people felt that they were set up to succeed. That, to me, is the biggest challenge, and that's going to be a challenge for the world as we go forward. Because change is happening at such a dramatic pace. Technology is changing, the environment is changing, geopolitics is changing, the whole ranking of people is changing. Everything is changing around us. So, in such a world, we need to find ways to set up groups, teams, and entire organizations for success.
So this is an excellent point. Okay, even today, resources is a challenge. Talent, which forms the major part of a service industry, right, is really expensive. Okay. Now you mentioned very clearly that you said, hey, you got in the best team people, and you told them that whatever is left behind, you will take it, right? But you gave them the first option, right? So that also slowed your personal revenue growth, right? So was it a slow growth for you personally? You had to take a hit back, because from CA firm partners and founders, who've invested 10, 12 years, and they're like, hey, you know what? After doing all the efforts, working round the clock, literally, I'm only making 30 lakhs, and my counterpart who's working in a corporate is like already at 80 lakhs. So, like, what should I be doing? So, that's one point. What should they be doing? And what should be their career growth strategy? Like, everyone does not have access to funds. So, what should be the growth path that one should take?
It's a very, very tough question. And I think the personal remuneration that chartered accountants end up retaining is always modest. I think we lived a middle class life all my life. I've had a comfortable life, but not a luxurious life. So that is the DNA virtually that you need to absorb and bring into yourself. You don't want to be flashy. You don't want to be, over the top in terms of how you spend it. So if you are happy and satisfied in the work that you do, which comes, as I said, out of innovation and being ahead of the curve, then that little sacrifice in remuneration and living a modest life. After all, I mean, what all do you need? I had a fantastic set of opportunities with government of India, with clients from across Indian industry, Indian services, all kinds of clients from every part of the country, and then globally, many, many very interesting clients we could service. And for us, that was the real motivating factor, which made me want to get up in the morning and run to work all my life.
Wow. So you led a simple life. So your needs were less. You were not chasing materialistic aspects. You were focused on the growth of your firm. That was your goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So the next question that I have for you is, how should firms, plan their growth strategy? Like, resources is the biggest challenge. Okay. So what should they be doing? Like, if I'm a small firm or a mid-sized firm, okay, how can I access resources? Like, being a part of international network firm, is that the only way to grow, or I can grow otherwise as well?
So I've seen three growth paths. First and most obvious is to join one of the larger groupings and subsume yourself into that, which is a good strategy for many firms. And many firms in India did that. They joined the big four, they joined the big six. We indeed were part of the BDO network. I became the chairman of BDO many years ago. So that is one big way in which smaller firms can actually grow large. The second way is to do domestic mergers and what is called networking of firms. I think that it is a tremendous pathway to scale and to become larger and to then start rendering services of a different kind. And a third strategy that I've seen in a few very highly skilled professionals is to go into a super niche. So, for example, there's one person who went purely into the litigation part of indirect taxes. So, it was a narrow field, and in that, there was a super specialization to make sure that everything that you did day in, day out was focused on that one super specialization. And I can recount many people who have been highly successful, who don't have a very large setup, don't have thousands of square feet of office space and hundreds of people working with them, but with very small teams have been able to create a super niche which becomes very profitable and can be the pathway to growth. So there are these three options available to the profession.
Okay, that's excellent. So if I really want to really go big, like super ambitious, being a part of a global network firm is one big, okay. And next one
Yeah.
is merging maybe with another big firm, and that could be another aspect. And what if I want to just be by myself and just grow? Is
Go into a super niche.
going to a super
Become an
niche.
AI specialist, for example, or become a energy transition specialist, or become a specialist in forensics, or a specialist in FEMA. So there are so many sub niches in all major areas of practice that you can simply go deep into and become the best in class in that super niche. That's what earns you phenomenal reputation, and people didn't just make a beeline for your office.
Okay. Okay. So when you decided, to be a part of the BDO network, okay, how did you evaluate? Okay, that's one. Second one is, how do you approach these large firms? We hear a lot of firms being a part of, a larger global net, but what's the process like? We know what's the process to raise 1,000 crores. We know it. Okay, go to a VC fund. Okay, but what is the process over here? And how long does this process take? And what do you need? When you say, hey, I want to be a part of your firm. What is it that they look at?
So I'll tell you. First, you should make yourself very attractive. And you should, I'll tell you what we did. We made ourselves attractive because we were registered in every place where work could be done by a chartered accountant. We were registered, whether it was Finance Corporation, or it was World Bank, or it was ADB, or it was Cooperative Societies Audit, or it was so anywhere where there was a registry which was being developed of professionals, we would be on, so that we were in the game. People could choose us if they so wish. That was the first baseline. We did it like with an obsession to make sure that not only were we registered, but we kept our registration active, alive, refreshed, and always, in the knowledge of people who make the decisions. And that is why we had opportunities. I personally had opportunities to work in Poland. I spent a wonderful few weeks working for IFC Washington in Poland. So all those kind of experiences happened because we were so widely known to people who had the need for profession. That's one. Second, you need to start looking for smaller networks first. So the first network that we had joined was a network which turned out finally to be Moores Rowland, which then subsequently merged into City. I don't know where they are today. I think they're part of Mazars, but I'm not very sure where they finally went. But it was because we had that stepping stone that we were able to graduate to a larger set of people, which is BDO. That's how the transition takes place. You first get yourself fully ready to do whatever work is on offer. Two, you start positioning. You're joining a network that is available. There are so many networks. Slowly build your reputation, go there, speak at seminars, conferences, make yourself known, write articles, present yourself in forums in the right way, in a very professional. And then you will find the doors opening up to the larger. That's how it went for us.
Okay. So the process is basically growing your practice and also positioning yourself and marketing yourself, okay, so that you get the, people look at you as a lucrative organization to partner with. That's okay. And then you,
Absolutely. And then your clients should be seeking you. They should know that, okay, this firm commits to do something, they do it on time, they do it efficiently, and their partners will be totally committed to the work. If you can get these three things aligned, then you get the true formula for success in the.
okay. So there's a lot of international network firms which one can approach. Like you'd be interacting with a lot of industry professionals, senior industry experts. So are there a lot of firms looking at India right now? And also that's one point. Second one is, you I guess you started off in 78, and from what I know in 2010 BDO was BDO and Haribhakti was born, right? 2010, right? So that's a long journey. Yes, I know in between, you did partner with a smaller firm, network firm. But, today, when everyone's raising 500, 600, it's a very fast world. Okay, so can I be a part of a large global, network firm, say in 5 years, 6 years, or can I start directly with them? Is a scope like this even possible?
Absolutely, very much. Today, the enthusiasm about piecing together Indian firms is at a absolute high. Anybody who can present themselves well, who can articulate what they're doing well, will be actually propositioned. Why not one, multiple firms? And it's the best time to position yourself as an outstanding professional. And I would say that if people do that, what does it take? It takes being true to your word. It takes being dedicated to the work that you do. Finish your work on time. Make sure that the client is satisfied. First, you must understand exactly what the client wants to be delivered. It is so critical to have that clear notion and then work towards making or fulfilling that need of the client. If you can do that, understand what is required of the job, and then perform it in a way that is timely delivered efficiently, and you make an impact. And that reputation then spreads itself. Largely, the profession works on word of mouth. So if you've done a great job in one place, they will talk. The financial controller will talk to 5 friends, and that's how your next assignment comes. I've seen that unmistakably happen. It's not as if what can you do? You can't advertise. You are supposed to be known because of the reputation that you've developed, either through the quality of your work and therefore word of mouth, or the quality of your presentation and the quality of your ideas. Because there are so many forums available for chartered accountants to speak and write in and all of that. It's hard work. That's what you got to be prepared for.
Okay. So you're saying that even if I'm a team of say five, okay, we have say 3 or 4 partners, okay, in a smaller team, right? But we've got a good market reputation. We are ambitious, driven, okay, and we approach say an international network firm, okay. They would consider us. It's not like hey, you have to have 200 team members and 20. No.
Absolutely. A 20-person, highly motivated firm in a few niche areas, extremely attractive. Extremely attractive.
That's amazing because usually we're not in CA firms, we're not really told, hey, you can, we're like, hey, you'll work very hard, grow the firm. That's how the mindset mostly is. Okay. So
Also, a bit of positioning. You need to position. How will the world come to know what you are really great at? If you're not speaking, if you're not writing, if other people are not talking about you, you've got to distinguish yourself. You've got to become a specialist in a particular niche. People should start recognizing that if you need this kind of stuff, go here.
yeah, so actually I mentor. So Baker Tilly is partnered, say, with a couple of. From what I know, it's one firm. That's your firm. What I know, okay, right now, if there's another firm who wants to be a part of Baker Tilly network, will Baker Tilly say, hey, I'm already with Shailesh's firm, so no, I'm not looking at anything else in India, or they do look at Giving their
They do.
They do.
No, no, absolutely. All of them are always looking for getting up the ladder. And that's a part of the game. It's part of the competitive natural process of rising up, getting larger. There might be some situations which may arise in particular firms which may not be conducive to a particular network. And so you may change networks. All of that happens. These are networks. So there is a entry and there is an exit. So both are possible.
So when I'm deciding, hey, I want to be a part of an international network, what should be my priorities? Should my priorities be like, hey, I'll just scale the firm, I'll just go big, and you're just excited that you have a big name with you. What should be your priorities before making this decision?
Excellent question, Chantal. I think it is important for people to research the core philosophies of the listed 3 or 4 networks that you want to join. Very important that you know them well. It's available from their website, from and staff, from clients you can speak to, work with them. So you will get to know a sense of what does that network really represent. Then you need to make sure that you become a good fit for that network. If you are able to do that systematically, there is a far greater chance that you will be set up for success within the network. Because as I said, ultimately, it's a network. They are not your equity partners as such in most cases. And therefore, it is important for you to not only create your niche and partner well, but to keep growing the niche and keep discovering new niche. Because otherwise, they lose interest. What's the point in having a network partner who's not growing? Nobody is interested in that.
Wow. Okay. So, sir, when you become a part of a network firm, okay, how does it work exactly? How does how do you remunerate them or they remunerate you, and what is this exchange that which is a win-win? What is it usually?
I mean, great question. So there are certain things which accounting firms need to invest in. Chief among them is technology. And how do you actually create a knowledge management system from which the entire firm across the globe can grow? First of all, you need to have a database not only of capability, but of opportunity, of protocols, of knowledge which has arisen as a result of your past work, which is systematically uploaded into your KMS, and then a possibility to draw down from it. All of this is facilitated in a network. So, for example, we participated very enthusiastically in actually creating audit manuals or process manuals for specialist internal audit work. All of that, because we participated, they were very happy and enthusiastic about sharing it with us, making us a part. That's the way that Indian organizations, Indian firms should make their contribution. Participate, give of yourself, make sure that you make a global contribution to making things happen and work in better and better ways. If you do that, then the network pushes you and more referrals come your way. Because ultimately, the way to remunerate a member of the network is a referral. So if you have a client in India and they need some work to be done in France, say, then I would like to refer them to my known person who I've met at a conference, at a seminar. I know that individual. And so I'm comfortable making a referral. That is the way that the network grows, by making sure that the work that comes your way is shared with your network partners across the globe.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's network. Okay. And do they invest, like, say, for instance, money as well in you? Like, can you, like, how you raise funds from a VC? Can you ask them that, hey, I need a certain amount of money? And does it work that way too?
No, they are not worried about it. You got to make your own money. Nobody is going to guide you as to how much and how to get there. You have to be your own boss. Because ultimately, everybody, all these network firms are individually equity oriented. But the only firms which had a global pool from which everybody shared was Anderson. At the time that Anderson was one firm, even before Anderson Consulting broke away. When it was Arthur Anderson and Company, it was a monolithic structure when everybody was a part. I think the only other firm that does that, perhaps tries to do that or grow that, is Massage something. But all others are pure networks. Where each domestic firm is a domestic network, is a domestic partner.
Okay, okay. So and they do invest in technology. So you get access to the technology they use. That's a big part, as you mentioned. That's the key aspect.
Absolutely. But nothing comes free, and as you can imagine, you got to pay a fee to be a part of the network, which goes into a pool of cost, which is the pool from which the investments into technology and manuals and everything happens. Of course, it's a great pleasure and a privilege to go to conferences all over the world, meet people from different parts of the world, interact, share ideas, share vision, and then see whether you can work on something you will create with them.
Okay, okay. And the amount that you have to contribute, of course, is not a small amount. It'll be considerably big, right? So it's a commitment.
It's modest. It's not frightening, if that's your question.
Would you want to give us a ballpark figure? So if there's say a small firm or a mid-sized firm, and what would it be approximately?
In the beginning, the normal annual subscription to meet costs was maybe 4 or 5 lakhs, then which grew at maximum to maybe 15, 20 lakhs. It
Okay,
was not a, but then individual referrals fetch you a percentage of the fee that is referred to you, and plus, of course, the full revenue. If there is a client from abroad which you are servicing, then the whole revenue comes to you, except for the small referral.
okay, that's excellent. So what are the cons you could say? What are the cons of getting into something like this?
I don't see any major cons except that if you're not an enthusiastic participant, then you will not get too much referral. Then the cost of remaining in the network may turn out to be, that is the con. But that's dependent on an individual's enthusiasm and an individual's ability to actually make a difference in a network. After all, it's everybody is on their own. You can work for a common good. It's like working for your country, right? There are certain things which you do because you're you have a national firm. So you do that. It's like that for a network. Why would I spend hours and hours trying to help build a new manual? Because I know that the shared benefits of it will show up in the future in terms of referred work, cross referred work.
Okay, so this is amazing. Okay, so sir, when for instance, like I want to be a part of a network firm. Okay, today, what would you tell me? Like Chantal, be aware of this. Had I known this, I would have done better. Like a few pointers, so those watching could,
So give yourself fully. That's the first point. Don't be always counting pennies and thinking that, oh, if I do this, then my billable time will go away and I won't make enough. Don't think like that. Think that you want to grow the whole network so the whole practice across the world can benefit from you. That's the new attitude and approach that you need to cultivate, where you want to be an enthusiastic participant in the growth of the whole network. That's when you will start seeing the advantages growing.
Okay, okay. Sir, like, in 2017, the Prime Minister had said, hey, we need Indian firms, to be in the top eight. So how can like Indian firms get that kind of growth? Like, is it even possible? Like, it's because, we've got some great firms in India, right? But there are only a few of them, with say, with a team of 500 plus, and very few with no access to a network, right? They've just built it, but it has taken them time, right? So what's your point of view?
So I'm saying we should stop thinking about Indian firms altogether. We should think about highly competent, highly professional, technology driven firms. That is the spirit that we need to cultivate in India. Now, if you take Deloitte, for example, or you take KPMG, or you take Ernst & Young, or Pricewaterhouse, who works in them? It's Indians. The largest population in any of these big firms is Indian. It's Indian professionals who have shown their worth, their merit, who have worked hard, who have become partners, who got into niches, who are doing some extraordinary work. Why do we pit them against Indian firm? What is the difference? What is important is that with integrity, with competence, with technology enablement, you do a job and work that will be of value to your clients. If you are in that phase, then everything will work out and you will not start seeing any of these differences. It really doesn't matter. We were, as Indian, I've never felt that we were a non-Indian firm, ever. And none of the networks made me feel that way at all. We've been in networks for, we were in networks for so many years, decades. But we still retained our Indianness. And we retain our commitment and our contribution to the networks. So it works both ways. That is the real spirit that we need to cultivate.
Okay, okay. If you were 25 today and you were starting your firm, okay, what would you do? What path would you choose? Would you even start a CA firm or would you do something else?
Very interesting. Well, today my view is that if you don't embrace artificial intelligence completely and you don't embrace sustainability completely, you will not make the cut. And therefore, the entire DNA of accounting firms, professional services firms, will have to be recast around these two ideas. And it's important to rethink, create what I like to call a massive transformative purpose for your firm. What is it that you want to do to change the world and influence the lives of a billion people across the globe? Think about it like that. And then create your own ways of achieving it. Create the pathways that you can, and things will fall into place. Because the standard routine processes have all been taken over by technology. Even the entire tax practice, for example, has been taken over by technology. The GST has been a born digital law. So much of the work that we used to do manually 30, 40 years ago is now fully driven by platform systems, digital public infrastructure, digital public goods. All of that is taken over. And so anybody at 25 starting a new firm has to think about it very differently. It's not the traditional stuff that's going to make you grow and become part of a network in the next 5, 10 years. It's going to be your innovation, your embracing of AI, your embracing of EDC, your embracing of new ways to transform. That's what's going to get you there.
Okay, okay, that's excellent. And of course, with a lot of opportunities, there are also certain unique challenges which firms starting up today or who are in existence as of today. There are some unique challenges. What are the challenges according to you that which didn't exist earlier?
Actually, Chantal, the challenges that remain same. It's the challenge of getting people who are better than you to work with. That is the biggest challenge. And my advice to my professional friends is that think out of the box. Don't think about owning a larger chunk of a small one. Think about caring in a very large pie. Make the pie large. Everybody will then benefit. If you have that mindset and that mind frame, then life will look so good. Also think in terms of co-founding niche enterprise with outstanding young people. That's actually what I love to do. I would love to partner with outstanding young people who are meritorious, enthusiastic, or academically sound, and who want to do something new. Love to partner with them to get new enterprise. That's the new frame that we should all graduate.
Wow. So that's some amazing advice even for me. Sometimes you want a lot more of the small pie, but if you share, it can really, really go. You have to be patient, right? It's not going to be instantaneously. Okay. So I have this last question for you. Okay. So if so today talent is actually very expensive. It's not an exaggeration, right? Good talent is expensive, and during the pandemic, it has gotten a lot more expensive. So you say, and people today are very ambitious. Say money matters. It's not like a 23-year-old won't negotiate with you because, hey, I don't have experience. They are going to really negotiate with you. So how do you get these good talent? I understand you have to. They look at money, okay, but any innovative ideas that you can think of. So
Very important is make them your partner. Let's enthuse them with the idea that leverage my network, my contact. Let's partner. And you make sure that you share equity with these people. Then what happens is he or she is not negotiating for individual pay. They are then negotiating for what should be the nature of the partner. If you can get that altered, everything will change.
okay, that's back to point one. You gotta share. Okay, that's key. Okay, so like any closing message do you have? And also, I asked you this question earlier, but any one or two challenges that you really faced, because I know a lot of people, who are really going through a lot of challenges in their firms, right? So if you could share something which could like motivate them and
Okay, so let me answer your question clearly. What are the two biggest challenges? I'll narrate a very short story. I was invited to speak at a seminar, and I began to hear the other speakers on the panel, and I felt that they were so ahead of me in that particular discussion that I needed to go back and relearn what I had missed because there was so much that I did not know about what was going on. That is a big challenge. How do you keep yourself up to date? How do you keep yourself ahead of it? So from that day onwards, the obsessive desire to unlearn and relearn took root. And that thankfully has stayed with me all these years. Very important. It's the biggest challenge. How do you keep pace when you learn? That's very big. The second big challenge is what do you do when a very key person actually leaves? That's when you really are put to a huge set of emotions, conflicts, and then you question things. But you must get up and you must fight by doing things better, partner better, set up more people for success, give up more so that you can ultimately grow the pie from which you will ultimately get. Those, to my mind, are the two challenges and the way forward.
okay, that's amazing.
My
So
message to everybody is only one single message. Be a lifelong learner. Knowledge is growing at a pace much faster than you can keep pace. So keep learning.
okay, so we have this question. I know you have a meeting, so we just take this one question. When do you know that okay, now this firm is not growing? It's time for me to try something else because it's okay to try to venture out. So when do you know that?
So once that sinks into you, then you should cut your losses swiftly. You should not ruminate over it because there is always that some residual part of you which is so invested in something that you can't get. That's the biggest mistake you can make. When you need to cut, you should cut fully and make sure that you get on to the next part. That is extremely important for people to uppermost.
Okay, so we have another.
What does it matter what you do in life? There's so many choices. Sorry,
Yes,
you
sir.
had another.
Yes. So, sir, these are the questions, and I know you have another meeting. Okay. So, I'm really thankful for your time. I mean, you're always amazing to catch up with, and you're always like so encouraging. So, thank you so much for the time, and thank you, sir. Thanks a ton. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Bye.